One day, a professor walked into his classroom holding a large glass jar. His students had seen that look before. The spark of curiosity in his eyes meant something interesting was about to happen. Without saying a word, he placed the jar on the table and pulled out several large rocks, each the size of his fist. He began placing them inside the jar one by one until no more could fit. Then he looked up and asked the class softly, "Is this jar full now?" The students looked closely. There was clearly no space for another rock, so they nodded and said, "Yes, sir, it's full." The professor smiled gently, reached under the desk, and pulled out a small bag filled with pebbles. He poured them into the jar and gave it a little shake. The pebbles rolled into the empty spaces between the rocks. He asked again, "Is it full now?" This time, a few students hesitated. Still, most replied, "Yes, sir, now it's full." But the professor wasn't done. He took out another bag, this time filled with fine sand, and slowly poured it into the jar. The sand slipped through the gaps, filling every tiny space. Once again, he asked, "Is it full now?" The whole class laughed. "Probably not," they said. He grinned, picked up a cup of water, and poured it into the jar. The water soaked through the sand, filling it completely. The jar was finally, truly full. The students watched in silence. Then the professor spoke, and every word seemed to echo in the room. "This jar," he said, "represents your life. The big rocks are the most important things. Your family, your health, your relationships, and your dreams. Even if you lose everything else, if you still have these rocks, your life will remain full." He continued, "The pebbles are the things that matter, but not as much your job, your house, your car, your degree. They're important, but they can't replace your rocks." Then he pointed at the sand. "The sand," he said, "is the small stuff, the distractions, the endless scrolling, the things that take your time but don't give your life meaning. If you fill your jar with sand first, there'll be no room left for the rocks." The class sat quietly, absorbing his words. "Your life is just like this jar," the professor said. "If you spend all your time on the small things, you'll never have space for what truly matters. Place your rocks first." Always a student raised their hand. "Sir, what about the water?" The professor smiled. "The water," he said, "represents the little joys, a cup of tea with a friend, laughter, moments of peace. No matter how full life seems, there's always room for a bit of joy." He paused, letting the silence speak. "Remember, life isn't about being busy. It's about being meaningful. Fill your jar wisely with love, health, dreams, and small joys. That's how you create a life that's truly full." This story is a powerful reminder for all of us. In our busy lives, it's so easy to get caught up in the sand, the urgent emails, the social media notifications, the daily chores that seem to demand our immediate attention. We fill our days with these small tasks, feeling productive. But at the end of the day, we often wonder where the time went and why we don't feel fulfilled. Think about your own life. What are your big rocks? Are you giving them the space and attention they deserve? Your health, for example. It is a huge rock, but how often do we sacrifice sleep for one more episode of a show, or skip a healthy meal for something quick and convenient? That's letting the sand push out the rock. What about your relationships, your family, your closest friends? These are the people who support you, who celebrate with you, and who are there for you when things get tough. Are you making time for them? Or are work deadlines and other obligations, the pebbles, consistently taking precedence? It's not about ignoring your job or responsibilities, but about making sure they don't completely overshadow the core connections that give your life its deepest meaning. And let's not forget your passions, your dreams, that book you've always wanted to write, the skill you've wanted to learn, the place you've always dreamed of visiting. These are your personal big rocks. They are what make your life uniquely yours. If you keep telling yourself, "I'll do it later, when I have more time," you might find that your jar is already filled with sand and pebbles, leaving no room for those dreams to take root and grow. The professor's lesson is a call to be intentional. It's about consciously choosing to put the big rocks in first. This might mean scheduling time for your health, just like you would a meeting. It might mean setting aside dedicated phone-free time to connect with your loved ones. It might mean blocking out an hour each week to work on your passion project. It's about making a deliberate choice. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately reaching for your phone and getting lost in the sand of notifications and news feeds, take a moment. Think about your rocks. What's one thing you can do today to honor one of them? Maybe it's a quick call to a parent, a 20-minute walk, or just 5 minutes of quiet reflection on what truly matters to you. The beauty of this metaphor is that it's not about achieving a perfect, stress-free life. Life is messy, and sometimes the pebbles and sand will demand more space than we'd like. The key is awareness. By regularly checking in with ourselves and asking, what's in my jar right now? We can make adjustments. We can consciously choose to sweep out some of the sand to make more room for a rock. And that final touch, the water. It's such a beautiful part of the lesson. The little joys, a beautiful sunset, the taste of your favorite coffee, a song that makes you want to dance, a good laugh with a colleague. These are the moments that add color and richness to our lives. They don't take up much space, but they make the journey so much more enjoyable. Even when our lives feel packed to the brim with responsibilities and priorities, there's always room for a little joy. We just have to remember to pour it in. So, I invite you to think about your own jar of life. What are your rocks, your pebbles, and your sand? Are you filling your jar in a way that aligns with what you value most? It's never too late to start rearranging the contents. Start today. Identify your big rocks and make a commitment to place them in your jar first. Fill the rest with your important tasks. And don't forget to leave space for those wonderful little moments of joy. Create a life that isn't just full, but truly fulfilling. Thank you so much for watching and reflecting with me today. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content to help you live a more meaningful life. What are your big rocks? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Until next time, take care.